Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of Jack's Business Talk. Today we have Trade Better 99. And since I always forget to do the plugs, we're going to do the plug right now.
Thanks, Jack. It's a pleasure being here. Yeah, it's TradeBetter99 on YouTube and Instagram at TradeBetter99, all one word.
Awesome. And I'll put the link down below so you guys can find it a little bit easier. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a review on a video that Trade Better found. And we're going to, I kind of only watched it haphazardly through just being like, oh yeah, yeah, we could do a video on this. So this is almost like a half of a first impression for me. And I'm assuming you watched it since you shared it with me.
Correct. Yeah, the reason why was, we'll get into it later, but it was interesting because of the potential view of work and the idea of real estate as well for investing. It could go in multiple directions. So I wanted your opinion on it.
So guys, we had some technical difficulties and you're not going to be able to watch it with us. In fact, we're only going to listen to it, but you'll still get to hear our inputs on it. And yeah, I'll put the link to the video down below so you can actually watch it in person. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
And largely this
Is that too loud?
notion, this prediction, is built on the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman's latest prediction. Now, just to give you a little context for this, so this doesn't seem wild and crazy out of left field, he has predicted some pretty amazing things. The founder of LinkedIn predicted the rise of social media in 1997. So we're talking about first one out of the gate. Social media is going to be a big deal, this guy says. People say, what's social media? Well, Reid Hoffman was right. This is 1997. By the way, he sold LinkedIn for $26 billion. Then he predicted and evangelized the idea of the sharing economy. Think Airbnb, Vrbo, things of that nature. And also got way out in front of the AI revolution years before ChatGPT. So here he comes again. And I give you those predictions because I think you have to pay attention to this. And I don't think this is alarmist at all. I think this is about awareness. So here's what he's saying. Within a decade, 50% of the US population will be freelancers. And he believes they'll make more than traditional employees. So that is a massive shift. Right now, depending on what kind of freelancing work you do, it may not be as lucrative or it may not pay as well.
Yeah, that's a good spot to pause right there.
I'm so used to having YouTube on the computer. I'm hitting space bar and stuff and it's not working.
Gotcha.
Forgetting it's going through my phone.
Yeah, I know. It's always those little things. It's like sometimes I gotta touch my ears and everything's like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this was an interesting introduction because yeah, founder of LinkedIn, very interesting situation. But what made me think about this with like work and real estate and everything was I was young enough to remember the days of MySpace and the beginning
Mhm.
of Facebook. And I mean, back then, I mean, I was interested in stocks and not real estate yet, but I mean, there was nobody to talk to about there. It was only just fun stuff, music, posting random, stories about yourself. But it was interesting to see that kind of growth from there. And then thinking about it, how it would relate to, I mean, how we're communicating now. It's just different situations that really surprised me. And it's kind of fun to look back on now.
Yeah, what I'm kind of hearing, and I'm not familiar with this person, but what I'm kind of hearing is that he's very good at seeing what the kids of today are doing and being able to predict what the future holds. So he's kind of going in a sense of what I've been saying for probably the last few years when people are getting worked up about AI, which is if you look back in history, times change and stuff, and you can see with the Industrial Revolution how people are freaking out about it's going to destroy us all, and then you have with the technology, of the 90s, it's going to just take over the world and destroy us all, and this is just the next phase of the tech or the technological era where AI is going to come in, and people are going to be like, it's going to lead into the Terminator series, it's going to kill us all. I mean, if it happens, then yeah, it's going to kill us all, but I don't see it being that advanced. Um, but yeah, I think that he's just seeing a change in the environment and is trying to get a jump start on what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Ken is a little bit more of he's part of the Dave Ramsey group. He's one of the more of the work trying to find everything on that side. So yeah, let's listen to a little bit more and see how it goes.
As a salaried position, but that is going away according to Reed.
Oh, I forgot to mention one thing.
Mhm.
So he was talking before about how he thinks that 50% of the people are going to be doing freelancing. And honestly, I kind of see that already happening. And but the one thing I'd like to know more, and I'm going to be listening a lot closer this time to see if he talks about it. He says people are going to be making more freelancing than with their W-2. What I'm curious to know is that including health insurance, and is that gross or is that net? And I'm kind of curious about that part.
Yeah,
It's easier to make more gross. It's harder to net it.
right, exactly. Because I mean, you just have to think about how much more you have to save every paycheck. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Of LinkedIn fame. Here's why. Specialized skills plus global demand will equal premium rates. This is the formula that Hoffman is saying will lead us into this new wave of work. Specialized skills. So think everything from I'm really good at coding, I'm really good at digital marketing, I'm a digital marketing whiz, as examples, plus the global demand as the global economy continues to grow. You think about where America is right now, just for context, and you think about developing countries, they're going to get there. So, yes, America's way ahead, but the rest of the world is continually catching up.
So, I mean, you can already see this in the medical field where the United States and Canada do probably 99% of all the new techniques and all the new technologies in the medical field, and then the rest of the world gets to take advantage of it and actually implements it. So, yeah, so it's just taking existing business ideas and implementing it towards everything else. So, yeah, I would agree with that because that's already happened in certain industries. The steel industry being another one that they've done that with already. Like, I forget what the percentage is, but a bulk of most of our steel in the US isn't made in the US anymore. It's made in China and Mexico.
Oh wow. Yeah, I
So,
mean,
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead. No, yeah, that's interesting. No, continue.
But that's something that's already in the phase of happening with different industries. But the one thing I would like to add to it also is, and something else I'm going to be listening for a little bit on this, is the fact that I feel like you need a special niche in what you do, so that you have to find yourself a trade. And I'm using trade in this aspect very, very broad. I'm not just talking about electricians and plumbers and that kind of stuff. I mean, a trade being something in the sense of a special niche. It could be a doctor, a lawyer, um, anything, something that can't be shipped overseas. Like you're not going to ship a nurse to China.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, unless if yeah, streaming technology gets amazing but I agree with you there. And especially with the ideas of what's going on with the gig economy, it's one of those, yeah, I'm trying to figure out, well, not everyone specializes. There are a lot of generalists out there. There's a lot of people that are junior level. And thinking about this is like, how are people going to get really started in these trades?
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it kind of led into the, oh, well, if I'm not going to have constant work, I should be investing already. And it's like, so should I be buying different assets? Should I already be investing in stocks or will stock exchange look differently because companies will be a lot smaller or, then go to real estate?
I think the thing is that everyone's always going to need housing, but the stock is going to be very tricky because with everything that's happening in the world and everything changing, it's
Yeah.
going to be hard to focus on those niche companies without going just into a completely broad like S&P index fund or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds just like the next 10 years could be very choppy because I mean, we're looking at the Dow Jones. I mean, they throw people off that are not profitable anymore that meet their standards. S&P
Mhm.
500, they're holding up the top 7 companies are holding the majority up. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting next 10 years to see what goes on.
Demand and technology and AI being what it is, more on that in a minute, is going to allow someone to take that specialization and charge a premium for it. There is a platform that I've been kicking around because I read about this article called Brain Trust, and it already lets freelancers keep 100% of their earnings. So think of, it's a job site, if you will. If I want a freelancer and I go to this website, I say I'm looking for a freelance writer, and they are offering their services on this platform, and they get to keep 100% of their earnings. So we're already, folks, that is way out in front of how we've been operating. And he goes on to say, your online portfolio will be your new resume. So I want to stop as I give you these predictions, and I want to.
Well, he said stop, so he stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, he kind of threw a lot at us right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those I mean, are we seeing the destruction of the mega company now, or are we going to see potential, I don't know, hiring companies that kind of bring everybody together, but everyone's still a 1099 employee, so to speak?
I think it's going to be the beginning of the 1099 employee, where especially with companies like that allow you to have 100%, and I'm guessing they're making their money through ad revenue because I don't see anyone just willingly out of the goodness of their heart just putting together something like Fiverr or something very comparable to Fiverr and not making
Right.
money at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, an interesting race to the bottom of how companies can get people together because I mean, what's going to happen is that either way, they're going to have to be some sort of way companies get together to be able to funnel and have access to these employees, or otherwise it's just going to be a free for all. And I mean, what kind of, yeah, I don't know. I can imagine the internet bandwidth just exploding as well about people putting videos up or I don't know, running their own massive codes. I mean, who knows? It's
I think
interesting.
there always I think there'll always be some jobs in a sense like these businesses are actually going to need a lot of people inside as well. But I think it's going to get to the point where a lot of the office jobs might end up going away, except for like maybe the managers and stuff, because the managers are now going to be reviewing what they're now outsourcing. So instead of them being in charge of 10 people, they might have three or four, 1099 people doing all the work.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Down for you because I think this is a lot, but I think you got to be aware of this. And here's what's interesting. I told my team this 2 or 3 years ago. I think we got to get to the point where much like an Instagram reel, think 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or TikTok, you essentially have a 60 to 90-second reel or TikTok of your resume. So the traditional resume, a piece of paper, and you email this, a PDF of it, or you walk into the job interview, you show it. The notion here is that's going away. And your online portfolio will be your resume. So you will show your work in a online capacity. That's what that means. So some of you are going, okay, I'm a project manager. How do I do that? Well, how would you tell your story in a video form? How would you show your work and your experience in video form or through graphics? That's the idea. People are,
No pause there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I kind of feel like what he's saying there is the people nowadays are so short attention span that even the 3 minute elevator pitch is getting to be too long, and it's going to be down to a minute or minute and a half that you have to get your point across.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm gonna skip words at that point, but no, I mean, yeah, that's the wild thing though. But that's what I wanted to ask you about as well. It's like, okay, so you're doing this for work, but also it's like you're doing this for your real estate portfolio. It's, I'm gonna be throwing this out. It's like, hey, I'm Trey Better. I invest in small multifamilies. You know, this, and this. I want this kind of rates. It's like almost like you're throwing a commercial for yourself out there right away, and then you need a wacky inflatable tube man with you or something like that.
I'm just picturing you having your kids like hiding underneath the camera shooting those graffiti or paper mache things behind you. I'm
Oh yeah,
Trey Better
exactly.
99.
Exactly. And just something just that catches you off guard. It's like, what? And then yeah, no, I mean, but it's like, is that the future? I mean, it's just, what are you gonna do for attention in that way? It's like, hey, I can have the boring, PowerPoint right here. This is what I do every day. Like you're saying, like I'm a project manager. This is the productivity that we go, where it's like, hey, we have fun when I go, it's like, what is that good that's gonna grab people?
Yeah, I'm not sure what all that's going to end up in detailing, but it seems like people are going to have to get better at the whole editing and doing stuff, or being able to reach out to people to actually do or have someone else do that. I guess it just comes down to your who's and not how's.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's do you think we could potentially become a barter community again? I mean, it's like I feel like people are cash strapped for everything. So it's like, hey, if you edit my video, I will, fill your taxes. And if you, you know,
I don't know. I mean, I could see that potentially happening, but it's so hard to say.
yeah.
in Brazil, going to pull up and read your line by line resume. They're going to look at you and they're going to say,
You still
show
hear
me
that?
in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in 1 minute, 3 minutes, and let's be honest, if it's a 1 minute video or a 3 minute video, you basically got 5 to 6 seconds to hook them. So this is the new world. They will look at you and you will be competing against other people online to show your work. And so as a project manager, how would you make the most compelling narrative online? That's going to be the new game.
Yeah, I kind of just went over what we all just said.
Yeah, and I mean, just think it's a global economy now. So I mean, how are you going to think differently? I mean, because it's like different cultures think differently, and I mean, it's great, but also you're just saying, what is this company looking for? Is like, because whenever people make their resumes when they're applying for companies, they kind of target it to that company, and then all of a sudden you're kind of doing like, are you making 15 different videos? It's like, hey, I'm an analyst. Hey, I'm a data scientist. Hey, I'm a plumber. Just which almost like you're changing hats all the time. It's like, this is my,
Yeah, I can see this getting to be quite complicated, but yeah, I think you're just gonna have to find your niche and just kind of stick with it, and just almost almost go ahead and pre-record like maybe over half of it, and then you could just do like 30 seconds just talking about that particular company and slap it on the beginning of it and the end of it. Like
Yeah, it's a good idea.
do like an intro for it and do an outro for it, and just make sure you're wearing the same colored shirt or whatever.
Yeah, that works.
Because Hoffman says it is no longer about just showing your work history. It is about a personal brand that makes you stand out. And that's the whole point I've just been making. Like, how do you look compared to everybody else? So they don't care that you've been in project management for 15 years. They want to see your brand and they go, ooh, I like this project manager more than I like this one, based on essentially a preview. So that's really interesting. He goes on to predict that we shouldn't be freaking out about AI taking your job. We should be focusing on how to use AI to allow us to focus on the most important parts of our job.
I feel like a good place to pause it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the whole
I feel like that kind of goes back to what we are saying in the very beginning, where every phase of you know of history has had an evolution, and people are all react saying it's the end of the world, and it just keeps going.
yeah, it's going to keep going. Things, I mean, we always find a way on how to make it work. I mean, it's what the what's it called? The dock strike that's happening right now on the East Coast. I mean, they were saying back in the 40s and 50s when they actually changed to the container, there was 40,000 employees. Now with the container, there's 60,000. I mean, it's one of those where, yeah, there's always going to be new changes. People have to learn new trades, so to speak, within that industry, but there's always going to be something that they can do within it. I
Well,
think.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's go ahead. It's a half thought, so go ahead.
But I was gonna say with AI, it's going to eliminate a lot of positions, but it's also going to create a lot more positions and different demands to have people working along with it. So it's going to take, but it's also going to give at the same time.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking along the lines. It's like what I was thinking is that I could audit, what I'm doing. So I was like, hey, if I'm a shipper, it's like, hey, I can put this right here. It's like, no, you're actually supposed to put it over there. And then, or I mean, just little catches here and there. It's like, so it makes waste time a lot less. And so then you can do something else. So yeah, I think there's a lot of benefit to it, believe it or not.
This is the example. Lawyers who are currently using AI are already 200% more efficient, because what they are simply doing is taking a lot of the paperwork and the clerical stuff and the menial tasks that are involved in a case, and AI is stepping in for them. So they are able to focus on strategy and client relations. So this is a great example. Okay, as a lawyer, I don't need to be scared about AI. I've got to figure out how do I leverage AI so that I'm able to focus on the most important things. And for a lawyer, strategy and client relations are the game. That is what they are measured on. It's fascinating. Then he goes on to predict.
I was trying to pause and I hit the wrong button. I hit the timer instead.
It's all good. Yeah, no, it's like we were just saying, it hits the nail on the head. I mean, it's like, for being a lawyer, it reads a bunch of books that you don't want to read or have to go through and everything. I mean, what's going to be the competitive edge for the next groups out there are who has the better AI, the better language model that understands what they're looking for. Because I mean, as great as the new ones are now, I mean, they make a lot of mistakes and they're very 100% confident in 70% of the work that they do. So, yeah.
Just a thought off topic. Me and Cynthia were at a spa earlier today, and they had an AI generated YouTube channel playing, just some calming music and stuff. But we both chuckled at there's pumpkins, with rain in the background and some fire, and you're inside of a cabin and stuff. But a couple of the pumpkins, the AI got confused over the fall season blankets, so the pumpkins turned into blankets.
Oh, really? That's actually kind of interesting. I was like, oh, I wouldn't want my pumpkin to be a blanket, but how's the music? Was it any like was it AI generated and like
No, it was real
lo-fi?
music. Like,
Okay,
yeah, but it was just like one of those AI generated backgrounds for like 30 seconds that would glitch and then go back to the beginning, play it all over again.
gotcha. Oh, that's wild.
That the passion economy will create a lot of millionaires. And I love this example. This is fascinating. And I don't know when the last time you heard this word forager. Okay. Even some of the younger audience might go, what in the world's a forager? Okay. But he uses the example of a forager who finds mushrooms. And we're not talking about drugs. All right. So don't anybody freak out, although I guess this is possible too. We're talking about rare mushrooms that people eat. So think about foodies. Okay. And I want you to think about the entire globe for just a second. And he uses the example, Hoffman says, a forager could earn as much as $200,000 a year by foraging for mushrooms in their little woods near their house. But because of AI and the ability to get online and sell it, they could sell those mushrooms literally around the world. And he's calling this a specialization. What's your deal? You're not going to believe this. I find rare mushrooms, and I've got a lot of restaurants. I got foodies all around the globe. I'm drop shipping mushrooms.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example because, like, again, there you go. Like we were saying earlier, AI was an addition to help someone, blow their business, off the market. Because I'm sure he's spending so much time in the woods picking mushrooms and stuff that he or they don't really have enough time to build the websites, build the connections where you can have the website and the AI reaching out and sprinkling here and there and all that kind of stuff. So he just, with using the help of AI, just completely opened up globally versus, I don't know where they said, but like, you know, East Coast of the United States, for example, or something like that. I don't know why. I'm imagining him in Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
no,
is
I mean
somewhere
that's
with, this is somewhere with a lot of rain, is what I'm imagining.
yeah, no, that's a great point because I mean, yeah, it's how many times do people just get annoyed making the social media posts? It's like, oh, hey,
Mhm.
here's the picture, and then it's like beautiful mushroom, 2 days old, and then it's like, it's like come to the site bid, or yeah, there's a lot of really fun things that you can potentially do with AI.
Okay. Now, this is already happening. Okay. But the idea here is he's saying you get online and you create this profile and you do a good job with this. It's not about your resume, it's about what you do and your specialization. And people that are looking for rare mushrooms to cook, they're coming your way. And so that essentially now, which is what we might have called a side hustle, or may call that now, becomes a full on specialization. And so the freelancing now, which was I want to make a little money on the side, I want to make some extra money, freelancing now becomes your entire deal because of the way the world works. So, why do I share this? I think you got to be ready for this. Upskilling, 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 and then really carving out your niche and learning how to talk about it. Watch.
I'm gonna cut off there just because it's gonna skip into another video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that episode's done.
Cool, yeah. And I guess it's kind of funny. The more when you was thinking upskilling, I was thinking with the same mushroom guy. Upskilling, okay, I'm gonna buy a drone and that can, identify the mushroom I'm looking for. So I don't even have to go outside anymore. So it's just
Yeah, just get like a Mars rover, have the drone find it, and just have that thing go out and pick them all.
exactly. It's like I'm liking this idea.
I was sitting here wondering, it's like, I wonder if it can build me a website.
There's actually a few webs. I can definitely send you one that I saw today for you. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah, that's like I'd my day job is like report building, form building, yeah, developing stuff like that. So yeah, I could definitely send you some stuff like that.
Yeah, I was listening to this video and I was thinking to myself, I think there are some trade jobs that are going to be in question, you know, like coders and that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you one, I was thinking, I think like your big machine shops, like your big industrial ones, for example, like even like where I work at, I could see those ones being jeopardized in the future and stuff because eventually you're gonna have AI that comes in and can just do all the tool changes and stuff, and only have like I'd say for every 20 people, maybe two or three.
Wow.
You know, I can already kind of see that happening, and it's interesting, you know. And I don't think it's necessarily that the jobs are going to go away. I think, or the people are going to be unemployed. I think it's just going to be a transition to something else. Like that's even like, for example, I'll give you another example real quick. Walmart was doing those self scanner things, and they
Hmm.
kind of got away from them a little bit. But I think they're going to start bringing them back again because they revamped them.
Oh, nice.
I would like to see them, and this is just a thought, but I would like to
Mhm.
see them, and I think this would be a much more efficient for them. Make the owls, you know, keep the owls the same spacing, but like, you know, like how you have like the owl on the shelf, and then on the other side you have a shelf.
Right.
Widen that up so a robot can get in there, and they
Hmm.
could stock everything also from the backside. I think that would be a good idea. And you wouldn't have
Oh.
to worry so much about expiration dates either because it's always going to be shoving everything forward.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I won't lie to you. I'm that person that actually goes into the back and reaches the one that's newer. So I let the other people buy that, the more expired ones. So yeah, that's exciting though. I mean, yeah, this video, there's a lot to take away from. It's one of those where it's like, okay, jobs are not going to look the same as they will, but I mean, thinking about when it comes to purchasing real estate and everything, it's one of those where I'm like, okay, well, I mean, either way, what happens, it's like people are, like you said, people are going to need places to live. I'm going to, either way, it's like it could be a good safe haven. It makes me wonder more about like, well, what should I do with my 401k now versus like, should I once again point that towards real estate or should I point that towards something else? Is there or something more gig friendly? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the future's going to play out, you know, everything's either going to implode on itself or everything's going to succeed.
Right. But I mean, it's like if it implodes, it's like, well, we're not going to care. It's like we'll
Yeah,
be gone. Who cares? But if it succeeds, it's like that's excellent. We're planning for the future.
I think it's great to enjoy the moment, but I think you also need to look towards the future as well at the same time. I was saying with that because I just uh, commented on one of Zuber's posts. He was talking about the five. I should be able to pull it up real quick. I already had it pulled up.
Mhm.
It was
Oh,
like I was thinking
nice.
ahead or something. The top five deathbed regrets. Zuber posted this on the school community.
Right.
Number one is I didn't spend enough time with the people I love. I think number one kind of ties in with number five, and I'll get to that in a second.
Mhm.
Number two is I worked too much and missed out on life. And you know, us as individuals, like people like us, we could very easily do that. Be like, we got time, we got the future, we got to get this next property, we got to, and lose track of time.
Yep.
I let fear control my decisions and didn't take risks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you got stuck at your 9 to 5 job forever, and
Ooh. You think
I
that?
wish I'd been. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was like, so with this video, do you think being a 1099 is a gift of freedom almost because you're not bound by the 9 to 5?
That's how I would kind of
Yeah.
take a look at it because if you can charge a higher rate and stuff, it would almost be beneficial now to start looking into like what you're going to do as a freelancer like even people like us are working towards financial freedom and independence and stuff. I
Mhm.
think it would be a good idea to work on what you're going to do in the 1099 world because, well, like, I don't know how you are, but like when I finally get to retire and stuff, I don't want to be done working.
No. Yeah.
I kind of want freelance, but I don't know exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's like I know I'm gonna do something. I don't want to say I get bored, but it's like I always feel like I want to work on something, and so
Yeah.
it's like, hey, that's what makes real estate fun. Is like there's always something to do. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh, I'll finish up this list
yeah,
real quick,
go for
and
it.
then we can wrap it up. I wish I'd been braver to face of uncertain opportunities. I feel like that's almost number three again.
Yeah, agreed.
And I focused too much on the future and lost touch with the present. That's kind of what I was saying before, but made me think of that. But yeah, as long as you're working for money and striving for money, it's very easy to lose sight of now. But if you
Yeah,
have the money and you have the time, then you can kind of just focus on the now and not so much about the future.
I agree. Yeah, it's one of those that's been something I've been weighing a lot is how fast am I going into the future mode? It's like, I'm grinding, I'm doing all this hard work, but am I going for a third job, a fourth job? Because it's like, hey, that means I'll get to financial freedom so much faster. But I'm like, hang on, life is great right now. It's like a
Hmm.
lot of things have happened. It's like, there's friends, there's family that, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it's like, let's enjoy the moments right now. And then, because, yeah, on the deathbed, that's what I'm going to remember. It's not going to be oh, yeah, I embraced the suck of working so many jobs so I could save enough. And, no, this is where I'm really trying to find that happy medium. So it's always worked, but it's been enjoyable doing this as well.
And with that, I think we'll wrap this up. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a really fun video.
Yeah, I wish I could have got the video thing to work a little better, but
Next time.
next time.
Yeah.